everyone, Susie here from Minnesota. I garden in a zone 4 and it is time for an update on my containers. It is July and it was supposed to be in the high 90s today. The humidity is just crazy. But this is a new addition. These were clearance plants, heliotrope. And oh, they smell lovely. Just amazing. They were $1 a piece, so I can't go wrong. These are looking really good. Some other ones that I got, I think I've thrown 4 away, or I should say composted. These are my Violas, and I have been watering them like crazy and fertilizing them, and they're looking good. And there are some brown bits in there, but if you don't look too closely, it still looks really amazing considering how hot we have been here. When I say hot, I do mean in pretty much mid-90s to the high 90s. And the humidity is, like I said, it's hazy. It almost looks like there's fog in the air. The air quality is horrible. This is a Lobularia. It's not doing the best over here, so I kind of push the envelope with full sun plants. And even when it says part sun, they definitely would prefer full sun. But the Tahitian bridal veil has never looked better. I'm just in love with this plant. This is one I had overwintered. Last year I brought it in and I forgot to water it for about a month and it bounced back without any problem. And this one is struggling a bit. These are just my caladiums that I had saved from last year. Found them in the back. So just put them in there because I really don't have high hopes for this begonia. I do struggle with that kind. In this container, basically the coleus is taken over, and that's okay. I think it's unbelievable. There's some Nicotiana popping through, but this is my favorite view. I mean, I don't know. I say that, but everything is. Honestly, what's not to love? All of these caladiums are ones I saved from last year. This is White Queen. This is Carolyn Wharton, which is putting out a new leaf here. And look, Miss Muffet. So happy. I didn't think I was going to get any of those to make it, and it's pulled through. With the dragon wing begonia, I've been loving the dragon wing begonias. I'm just amazed. I had also planted some, when this was not so filled in, some caladiums in here. And it's in that one. Be careful, I heard a crunch. And another Miss Muffet that came up. This container here is unreal, and the hummingbirds love it. It has a salvia, purple salvia, with the wandering Jew and a coleus, and oh, I love it. Can't believe how big that has gotten. I just put this coleus in here a couple days ago. What did I have in there? Oh, I had some marigolds. And they weren't doing the best in there, but I did move them into my vegetable gardens, the marigolds, and they seem to be liking that a bit better. I'm just going to do this one real quick here. And this is my Topiary Coleus. And look at, this is filling in really nicely, so happy with that. I have to keep trimming on this just to keep it compact because they do get really weighty and tend to break off. But look at the stem on that one. It's kind of therapeutic when I'm trimming on that. This one needs a little bit of a haircut to manage this coleus in here. But that is massive. And more of my caladiums that I had saved, along with my favorite dragonwing pink begonia. And look at, these are also caladiums that I saved. They took a bit, but I also have a White Queen coming up in here. It looks like Carolyn Wharton is definitely a tough, vigorous caladium. You can see this White Queen is a little more pink, and that is, it might be a different, no, it is from the same plant or bulb. I left this open for watering purposes. Coleus in here. I think I might have to give that. They're talking storms tonight, so Coleus does not handle storms very well. The Nicotiana, I've been trimming it up. It has been flopping a little bit just because when we get a rain, it smushes it down. But it's doing okay. This container here, the baby wing white begonia, is definitely loving it. Need to probably prune a little bit on that plectranthus. I'm waiting to see what these do when the temps get a little bit cooler. The apple blossom. But they're still holding on. I'm doing this side quick before the air conditioning kicks on. And I'm in shade. Whew. I think a heat index of 103 today. The Violas here is doing pretty good. It is a brilliant purpley blue. I mean, it really is. I do like it. It just feels cool over here. You can definitely see the plectranthus is going to town, and it's doing what I wanted it to do. I just need to make sure it continues to go this way. The polka dot plant in here looks really good. The impatient, it's doing good. And then this has gotten a little bit bigger, but not much. But I do think it's cute in there. Artillery fern. Just a houseplant. Some of my houseplants, I'm not sure if they're going to make their way back into the house. That one's so big, though. I just don't know where to put it. This is Medusa sweet potato vine. It's doing okay. I'm just leaving it right now just because I don't feel like putting anything else there. It's late in the season, so what is. But I don't know if I would really do that in that kind of a shady, say maybe it gets about 3 hours of sun. So it looks okay, but it's definitely doing a lot better in another area. What is that? Why are they there? Are those carpenter bees? Whoa. Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand. That's not good, is it? It looks like it's kind of chewing on the wood there. So I'm going to swing around to the back real quick, but I just want to show this to you from the front, which is really cool because I had caladiums in here, and I just left the ones in there when I was planting. Some came out, which I was in the other areas, but they are popping through. That's like perfect. I think I don't want to get too close to those bees. I'm not sure how aggressive they are. That's the first I've ever seen them. Yeah, I'm surprised the caladiums pop through with all of these. The begonias look fantastic. This is just, to me, one of my favorite containers. And then with the ferns in there. But with the elephant ear, that was really big. I would probably reposition that leaf if it wasn't for the bees. But I have to show you that leaf in the back. Sorry if I'm making you a little dizzy here. I started in my shady spot first. I'm going to be working to the sunny spot. Look how massive that is. And that's the newest leaf. Probably not great that it's rubbing against the swing. But yeah, go figure that the biggest leaf is to the back. We still have about, I'm not even going to say it, I'm going to jinx it. I'm hoping for 2 more months of growing. But last year our freeze came early, like first week in September. I'm gonna go over here. And this one I'm probably gonna be pruning up a little bit, so it's not quite so tall. Like I said, storms just tend to wreak havoc with Coleus, but the white impatiens look great. I am liking that just to soften that deep red, along with the Wandering Jew and the Dichondra Silver Falls. I really like this container. I love how the Dichondra just kind of sways with the wind. Oh, I love it. Very tropical feeling. I think it's fitting for this area with all the big hostas. And just a begonia in here. I was feeling for moisture, and then I came across a big spider, so I'm like, no, I'm just going to water you. Oh, this looks a little droopy. It could be the heat too. Love this container with the purple salvia and that rust-colored coleus. It's just a nice pop of color in this area. And there's the purple in the back. Really like that one. And this container here. Yeah, I definitely have no issues with coleus growing it. And all of these were cuttings. And this one is just in a wagon, so it's not that tall, but wow, look at that. That's redhead coleus. I just sunk a pot in the ground here, and I have a morning glory vine climbing up there. The leaves don't look the best. I don't know what its issue is, but look how pretty that bloom is. That's morning, but right now the sun starts to shift. So things that were getting a lot of sun before are not getting a lot anymore, which is probably what's saving a lot of my plants with this drive as we've been, because I do have some full sun areas, but maybe only 20% of the garden now. I gotta get on top of the watering. This container is unbelievable. The Wandering Jew, I'm just letting it take over. I do have a pink begonia in there, along with some snapdragons and Gora. And this container, I love that. So watering my containers usually takes between 10 and 15 minutes. And I do it in the morning, and a lot of times I'm doing it before I work. So that's why I'm glad it doesn't take me that long. But remember, I have a lot of shade, so they don't need to be watered daily, just mainly the full sun ones. If I'm watering from my rain barrel, it usually takes about an hour. I did go ahead and give this a prune here. I had some that broke off, so the ugly side is to the back towards the fence, and the prettier side is to the front. I do have Creeping Jenny. Need to be careful, it's getting close to the ground. And Wandering Jew, along with this just one coleus in here, which is taken over. Probably should prune that up a little bit more. And that is definitely an aggressive coleus. There is a double impatient in there, but I'm not seeing it anymore. And this is where I have Medusa sweet potato vine, and you can definitely see it's liking a sunnier situation. So yes, you can plant it in shade, and just it's not gonna be as aggressive. But this is amazing. I mean, oh, that would be an awesome ground cover, don't you think? I just planted this up. I had some extra coleus. I wasn't liking this container back here. It was just looking a little bit of a mess. So we'll see how this, like I said, maybe just a week ago. And these warm temps will definitely speed up the growing process. This is where I put the marigolds that I had in that pot. Some extra coleus. this Gara looks amazing. And I know it can look a bit wild, but I love it. I love how in the breeze it sways. Sometimes it's very hypnotizing, at least to me. This is just a Gomphrena. Again, it's not getting a lot of sun. It's getting some. Enough to, I mean, it could be doing better, but to me, I think it looks really good. And I know with my growing conditions what to expect and what not to expect. I am realistic that way, that it's not going to look like on the tag. But the Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus is, what can I say, is just amazing. I'm loving the verbena in this pot, along with the salvias and the bunny tail. Some of them are a little brown, but there are new ones in there, so I'm just leaving it. I could deadhead them, but that would be a lot of time involved. This is a little wild looking, but I love it. I just love looking through the verbena. And this one back here I know is not getting as much sun as the others, but it's holding its own. I have a salvia in here, along with the Zinnia. They look okay. I'm not liking that foliage, but there's a lot going on in here. And I have the Datura, just starting. It's a massive bloom. Sorry. I had deadheaded one the other day. That's how big it is. So they're huge. And every part of it is poisonous. But I love verbena. What's not to love? This container has Sunfinity sunflowers, and the birds really like this. So they don't last a long time just because the petals tend to fall off, but you know, I love watching the birds on them. So a lot of deadheading to do, but you know what, definitely worth it. And the Blue Lady Burwalia just keeps on blooming its little head off. I know I'm getting into full sun now, so it might be a little hard to see. But for the end of July, the way things are looking, I'm very pleased. Like I said, I love that verbena. Here, lots of Nicotiana, Texas sage, and look how big that Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus is. And this will probably not bloom in my zone. This is a seed I started. This is definitely a tropical plant, but honestly, a lot of people grow this for filler in arrangements. Look at that. Would that not be pretty? And Nicotiana, along with, you guessed it, more verbena. This container just have, and this Coleus can take sun. And then these are 2 dahlias. I bought those. They're the ones that were $1 a piece. They're the only ones that have survived so far. So I'm not. They're okay, but they've proved temperamental. And the blooms on them look a lot like zinnias, but a lot more finickier. So next year, I'm not doing dahlias in pots. This is just bunny tails here. Like I said, it is going over the blooms. I still like it a lot, but there's a lot of new down in there. So I just love that look. This is where I had the dahlias in, and they were wilting. I couldn't, no matter what I did, they just weren't liking it. So I have lemongrass in here, along with some rosemary. That might be a lavender. I don't know. And then I have some basil and oregano that I just seeded the other day. So this, I just have this in the front. I ran out of it, and then I just have some plastic lining it. Just hold the soil in. Yes, it's an eyesore, but this should fill in. And maybe not see it. Look at the salvia. It's just loaded in blossoms. Probably not at its full glory and bloom, but hey, you know what? Look at. So the mahogany splendor hibiscus does amazing in containers. And where I have it planted in the ground, it's nothing. I mean, it really isn't, but in a container, holy cow, does it just take over. It's massive. Kufia honeybells has not stopped blooming, and the hummingbirds love this. I am in love with this plant. It's so dainty. I'm glad I just have it on its own so you can appreciate the full glory. It's so hot out here. Even my skin is glistening. Ugh. In here, just oregano. I did lose one back here. Don't know why. And then a Snapdragon. Look at that. But wow. So this Coleus, it's topiaried. It's taking over. It's loving it here. Again, this is a little shadier. But the one over here, some of the, I'm going to say branches broke off. It just got so heavy. And this gets more sun. But, I mean, it's got quite the little stem on it, doesn't it? Little trunk. So I keep kind of pruning this one up, keeping it a little more compact. The Ridgeron is still holding its own. I think it'll really put on a show, I'm hoping, a little closer to fall with the cooler temps. This Gara is definitely a little all over the place. But you gotta love Gombrina. Seriously, this butterfly loves this one. This, I had Nicotiana in here, and I replaced with verbena and bunny tails, and these are the newer ones that look a little more green. So I'm just very happy that the bunny tails are still holding on. This is apple 20. Oh, okay, I'm like purple. Apple or 20 apple blossom Snapdragon. It's full of flower buds. Look at this beast. But look how I have it wrapped so it doesn't climb out. Oh no, it's going into my vent. Oh, come back out. And look at the blooms. Hyacinth bean vine. Holy moly. You can really see, oh, look at that. I hope that structure in there, that obelisk, is strong enough to hold that bad boy up. Crazy. Yeah, can you... that's a parlor palm. I'm like, really? I forgot to water it. I'm going to try moving it up a container and I don't know what kind of... I struggle with houseplants. So in this container, I have a black-eyed Susan vine, and it's just, I mean, these blooms are even getting really big. Especially, look. And I mean, it's going all over. It's even in my lilac. This is Nicotiana lime green. And I'm surprised it's still holding on. So it's a monster, I will say that. It's not my favorite, but I do like this container. I have oregano as a trailer, and I am loving that. Some of it is blooming back there. Texas sage is gorgeous, but I have a feeling one of these days I'm going to come, especially with like some heavy rains or winds, and it's going to be busted off. It's loaded. I mean, I already have kind of a stake in there, and yeah. This is still my favorite container over here with the Nicotiana. I call this my fireworks container, just the way that this is popping out through it with these stunning marigolds. This is the lemongrass, but it is pushing things out a bit because it is getting quite the stalk in there. So. And there's still some erigeron that's blooming at the bottom. Like I said, mahogany splendor hibiscus in a container is just, I did end up having to cut a piece off because it was just getting so big. So yeah. With some Gara, I've trimmed it up. So we'll see. Look at this zinnia. This is a Bennery's giant salmon. I mean, wow. That's why I say I struggle with dahlias, and zinnias are so easy, and yet I think they're very similar in looks sometimes. But look at this apple 20, I keep saying it wrong, apple blossom 20 Snapdragon. Loving it over here. And I think I'm not using this oregano here for flavoring food and whatnot. I'm just using this more as an ornamental in the pots. And I'm liking it when it's blooming with these dainty flowers. A lot. Cerinthe is, I know some of it's going to seed, but I still have to be careful because the bees love this. But look at those blooms. And I'd put some verbena in here too. More black-eyed Susan vine. Look at this. I'm gonna swing. And these containers, after I had given them a severe prune after that storm, they look amazing. I just really worry about these with the next storm. I really do, because I mean they're huge again, and I don't know, this just gets battered by the wind. Not the rain so much because it's under this overhang here. But love the dragon wing begonias and the creeping Jenny. So all three of these are the same. Probably my favorite, I don't know, so far. There's just something about these, because I feel like I'm jinxing it by saying I love them, and then those storms tend to do a number on things, although we could use the rain. So I probably did overuse the dragon wing begonias. I don't think I have because I'm in love with them, but not a whole lot of change up in the containers. But this just has that one coleus in here, which has taken over. Look, I did have some of my caladiums Miss Muffet. Love that. And then this is the baby tut, not baby tut, Prince Tut grass. Whoops. See what I mean by in ground with the mahogany splendor hibiscus, where it's not as impressive in containers? So it's not branching out like the other ones, but I'm sure it's just loving that loose soil and, well, the consistent watering too. That could be that. And the fertilization, because I don't fertilize a lot of my plants that are in ground, even my annuals. Sometimes I wish my containers were on wheels, so if there was a storm coming I could just wheel them into the garage and protect them, but that might be a little overboard with the love of gardening. I love walking up this way. Like I said, I have my favorites and not so favorites where I'll do things a little bit differently next year. And more houseplants that these are doing pretty good. I think I covered all of my containers. So is he perched on there? Oops, too quick. I'm sorry if I made you dizzy, but I wanted to catch him. The hummingbirds love to perch on that. But man, are they territorial. Not with me, but with other hummingbirds. It's kind of why I got rid of the feeders, because there was a little war going on. I'm like, I have enough flowers for you to feast on. So hopefully enjoyed an update on how all of my containers are doing. And I'm very pleased at the way they look towards the end of July. Like I said, I was stressing out about some of them that they were going to peter out, but so far so good. So hopefully that continues through August. We've had really high heat for a long time. I would say a week ago we had a reprieve with the high 80s, but next week looks to be maybe in about a week. We'll have a little reprieve here too. So hopefully you enjoyed, and bye for now.